Hey folks, John Kelly. Welcome back to the Law Enforcement Life Coach. Sometimes Heroes Need Help podcast. 3 of 3. We've made it. Episodes 1 and 2 are in the what are they? What's the phrase?
In the books.
In the books. Yes, in the books. Episode 3 is really our takeaways from 1 and 2 and how you maintain a healthy relationship. And I've got little Nicole here. My Nicole. We're going to go through some things that some of my takeaways, her takeaways, and leave you with, I don't know, maybe a roadmap of sorts to stay healthy. And then if you get off track, maybe a way to get back on track. Fair enough? Fair enough. Thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule. Oh shit! If you only know what's the busy schedule now. If it's not sunny out, we can't lay out by the pool. I understand. So the world ends. So some takeaways from episodes 1 and 2 I have written down, and Cindy Doyle will be proud of me. Code for Couples. It's not just communicating; it's connecting. Spending, I think it's tough with first responders, especially because we do have some unpredictability when it comes to our schedules. And it always seems like we end up having to work more than we want to. I don't think we're really good living within our means. I think that lure of always being able to make more money,
Right. It's tempting.
it's tempting, and it ends up putting us in a place where we have to work more just to pay the bills. And then so now that relationship, I want to spend time, but I've got to pay the bills. And so I have written down here, obviously time communicating and connecting, but what are your thoughts about scheduling? Like scheduling time to be together. People think that that's weird.
We never did it before.
No, we
didn't
never
till-
did it before.
till
Right.
you retired.
Until I figured some things out.
Right.
We never did it before. What do
We
you,
would try to have date night. One night a week.
right,
We would try, but it'd always be like on a Monday or Tuesday.
right. But we would do it, right? All right. So having a date night, regardless of what's going on, maybe you get the in-laws to watch the kids, maybe, whatever the situation is, at least once a week, you
Yeah.
guys need to have some time for each other,
That's so important.
right?
You have
And
to.
if not like the in-laws, maybe like a trusted sitter.
Right. Yeah.
And so schedule that. And what I found that's really helpful is, like, if I have a meeting, I don't miss the meeting. It's on my schedule. I never not show up. And so I think we need to do that for each other. I've also kind of incorporated that in retirement, because I'm not really retired because I'm working all next week. That from the time that I wake up
Till like 12 o'clock.
till 12 o'clock,
It's our time.
it's our time.
We go to the gym, we have breakfast.
Do some
whatever.
errands, put around.
Right. But that's our time.
Right. And I think that only on the rarest of occasions should that time be interrupted.
Right.
And I think we've been pretty good. Well,
Yeah.
I've been pretty good at holding to that time being sacred.
Right.
Stuff comes up. We got a conference this week. I'm going to be gone for a few days, but
When you're home, you make an effort always.
yeah, and I'm not traveling a whole heck of a lot, at least not yet.
Right.
So I think that scheduling, and put it, when I mean schedule, it's not a verbal, it's on my phone.
Right.
Like it's on the calendar. Oh shit, speaking about the phone. So when I present, I talk about the phone and how it's like destroying lives.
Mhm.
And I say that and people kind of look, the fuck are you talking about? It's destroying lives, relationships anyways. And what are your thoughts on that? The phone and how that plays into maybe you being in the same room with somebody, but not being connected with that person.
Recently,
What's the new
Set.
rule?
phones down.
Not only phones down, but like phones like away.
Yeah. So you're
Put
not
it, put,
tempted to pick it up during a commercial and look at something. It's just, it's so consuming. And
I have, and I'm guilty of it, but I have, the three of us, you, me and Bree, have sat down to watch a movie.
And you say,
And I look over, I see blue screens in everybody's face, and who the hell knows what's going on? It's like you might physically be in the same space together, but you're not connecting. And so phones down, phones away, phones in the other room. And listen, really, the only emergency could be you're here, Bree's here. The only phone call we could ever get that would matter is from your mom and dad.
Right.
And so we would follow up on that.
Right.
But I think that's probably a good start to helping people connect is get rid of the phone.
Have we gone out? We'll see a family sitting at dinner and everybody's on their phone.
Everybody's on their phone.
We went to, I don't know if you noticed it, but there was a couple in front of us at the hockey game. I noticed
I
they
don't-
spent almost the entire time on their phone.
Really?
Not watching the game,
Yeah.
not talking to each other.
Yeah. It's easy to get consumed with it. And what it does is the time you think you're spending connecting, you're undermining that time. You're really not. So one great takeaway would be practice, try it. If people are going to have a hard time doing this. I said this to a class at Monroe County, and a guy who was he lost his shit. Nobody tells me what to do with my phone. I'm like, okay, like, you know, guy had a lot going on.
You need the intervention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he needed a couple coaching sessions. So we've got putting the phone down and then scheduling time together. I think that's important too. Maybe scheduling time with friends as a couple too. Friends outside of law enforcement, friends that are retired, because if you say, hey, we'll do something this weekend came and went.
Exactly.
And we didn't do anything. So maybe being more deliberate in the scheduling of your time. And that gets back to everything else that I talk about, time management, like you taking care of you first thing in the day, in the morning and all that. But let's just stick with relationships. I thought it was funny that the first time we found out about Dr. Gary Chapman and the love languages was when we were in marriage counseling. No, who the hell would have, right? Dr. Gary Chapman, the 5 love languages. So you've got gift giving, right? You a big fan of gift giving?
It's not my favorite.
No,
believe it or
no,
not.
it's not. Words of affirmation. That was mine. I was like, I would always tell you how much I loved you. In one ear and out the other, bitch.
Show me.
No, not even. Quality time.
Yeah.
Well, that could have been one if I was around, right? But acts of service is your love language. And physical touch
is yours.
Yeah. So Nicole would always say to me, hey, it would really help me out if you made the bed, stripped the bed, took
Empty the dishwasher.
empty the dish,
anything. Yeah.
right? And I was like, maybe you don't understand. I work 70 hours a week. I don't have time, right? That was my excuse to that. But she had told me without telling me what she needed from me for me to express love in seems like a very weird way. And I never did it. And then mine, I don't even think you knew what mine was. But it wasn't until we went through marriage counseling that I was able to tell you that when you hold my hand, right, my non-gun dominant hand, in case there's a tactical situation that presents itself, and I've got to get to the pistola real quick. Not that hand, this hand. When you hold my hand, when you put your hand on my shoulder, like my heart soars. It fucking soars. I I I become 7 feet tall and 300. I become like Superman when you do that. But we don't ever communicate that. So those are missed opportunities, right? And so when I figure out what your love language is, I have the list of everything that I've done, right? It's like, hey, look at love language, get in the bed, right? And so you don't know that. So work on that. Have that conversation with your spouse, your partner. Say, hey, what is it like that I do for you that really makes your heart soar? And you might be
surprised.
you might be surprised when they say, oh, you giving me
Little card.
or maybe time. I really cherish the time that you have before you go to work. That 10 minutes. Like I need that 10, whatever it is. But if you don't know, you can't capitalize on it, right? So that's important. Scheduling, openly expressing wants and needs. We just got really good at that lately. Lately, meaning in the last 5 or 10 years, right? And it's weird. It shouldn't be, but it gets back to conversations and being able to say what you want,
and not be afraid of the repercussions.
or creating tension, or yeah. And the other part of all that is I wrote down expressing gratitude and appreciation, because for a little bit, I always say this, like if the person that you're in the relationship with doesn't appreciate you, or you don't feel like you're being appreciated, you'll find somebody that does. It's just like one of those needs, like, you know, and I could never express that to you. Like I love when you cook for me and for the house, but for me, if when I've been working 7 days in a row and I get home and I open that door after being up at 4 a.m. to go to the port and I smell pot roast I mean, that validates for me, like I've been working so hard. Nicole really appreciates me working so hard.
That's acts of service. You appreciate that as well.
Yeah,
This touch.
right, of course. And so, but come home and that be important to me, but me not let you know that that's important to me. And then I come home and I'm like, fuck, what's for dinner? Nothing's for dinner? Takeouts for dinner? Fuck have you been doing all day? That's me playing it in my head, but I don't say that. We don't ever talk about it. Another wedge. When it doesn't have to be. It could just be, I really love when you cook for me. It makes me feel appreciated. It makes me think that you really, and conversely, like I remember I would, I text you, hey, how far from the house are you? And then I'd meet you outside, right? With what? A glass of wine, right? Right. And like the first thing that you get out of I help you with whatever you had to carry, and I give you a nice chilled glass of wine. That's a nice way to start your day coming home, right?
Absolutely.
How do you fuck that up? I mean, you roll up the driveway and your spouse has something for you that, you can start self-medicating, but that I guess it's just being thoughtful, right? For no other reason than that makes the other person's heart feel good. And then so there are so many different aspects of relationships. I'm just touching on some of the things that you and I kind of noticed. We are obviously by no stretch of the imagination experts in this area, but when I could tell you that when our relationship wasn't good, it was fucking horrible. I always say you can't have the sweet without the sour.
Right.
And so you can't appreciate when things are good unless they're, if you've never experienced bad, you don't know what good is. I don't think sometimes people don't have perspective. And so I know when it comes to expressing gratitude and appreciation, I wake up and I do my thing with the dogs, but when I take Wallace for a walk, I verbally out loud thank God for you waking up next to me, Brianna, mom and dad. And then I go through my list of friends and family. I start north and work my way south. I start in Boston with Kristen and Kyle and Sam and Paul, and I make my way to Tom and to Craig and to all the people in my life, all the way down to our neighbors.
Yeah.
And I think that practicing gratitude and acknowledging that of all the things that you have to be grateful for, I like to verbalize it. I like to hear me say it out loud. And I think it's a great way to start the day. I think it redefines, because there are so many people out there, even though maybe it's hard for them to find something to be grateful for. I think if you look hard enough, you can find something. And I think that helps frame your day moving forward. I wanted to talk briefly about, I've had a couple of clients talk to me about their relationships, and they're in their late 30s, early 40s, and it's starting to, and their spouse, they're tired all the time. Their spouse is tired like legitimately tired all the time. Really no sex drive. They're kind of indifferent. Now we're getting into our mid 40s, and you and I are in our mid to late 50s. I went and had blood work done.
Yeah, I did too.
You had blood work done.
Yeah.
Um,
I was feeling tired for no reason.
yeah.
Just off. Just completely off.
Sex drive.
Yeah, everything was low.
Huh.
Dryness of the skin.
How could your sex drive be low if you're married to me? I know that's a trick question. But that's the thing. Everybody's like, well, maybe she doesn't find me attractive anymore. Maybe she, right. Like that's a hit, man. That's a hit to the ego. That's a hit to the relationship. Well, I got to fucking beg for it now. And it's not even like that. Again, it's a tough conversation. It's a tough conversation.
People think, oh, that's part of getting older. You slow down a little bit. You're not as sexually active as you were, at first. But I think it's so important to go and get your blood work done, because if you know something's off.
Right. And so you did that, and you found out that your levels were wacky.
Yeah, incredibly low on estrogen, testosterone.
So you were,
how I felt.
Your indifference.
So I spoke to the doctor because I wanted to do it carefully.
Right.
So,
informed.
There's pros and cons.
Right.
And I was a good candidate. So I started it, and
like a little bit of testosterone
and estrogen.
Okay.
And progesterone
to get your
to get my
levels
normal.
Okay.
And I'd go for my blood work every 3 months.
Yeah.
And within the first time the second time I went for my blood work, I was feeling amazing.
Huh. Maybe we need to get one of those rejuvenation clinics as a sponsor for this episode. I didn't know this was going to turn into a juice head episode with Nicole. But right.
Balanced. I think that
So,
that's the word, not struggling.
so if somebody's in their 40s,
Yeah, I mean, I think all women are different, but I think it starts between 40 and 50,
okay,
perimenopause and
right,
your hormones.
plays a role.
Definitely. And some women, that they can get through it with, it's not for everybody.
Right.
It's if you want to improve on how you feel.
Sure, quality of life.
Exactly.
Quality of life. And listen, this is medical advice. This is just something that we looked into and we do. Um, Obviously go see a doctor, go to a certified, your primary care physician and talk about whatever it is. But I think it's like it's something so obvious, but nobody knows about it, nobody talks about it. And I think that it's a cause for a lot of relationships
Definitely.
for having issues. Because you
Because
start
you physically can't help it. I mean, if your hormones are,
right.
in the toilet.
Yeah,
and they're
I'm
not the way
tired
they
all the
should be,
time. Fuck, what do you mean you're tired? Ugh, we haven't been together all week. Were you tired again? And now, you know what? That starts instead of having the hard conversations, that's another wedge. Well, you know what? You don't want to fuck me? Okay. Find somebody that does. It's shitty, but I think that's reality. I think the hard work is figuring out why you're not attracted or feeling what's the word? Why you have no sex drive.
Right.
The man just assumes, well, guess I don't do it for you anymore. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
and so but that's a tough conversation. So maybe you have a tough conversation with your partner, your spouse. Maybe you go to the doctor and you find out some answers, and then, um, and that makes the relationship better and stronger when you're physically, sexually active and connecting.
Right.
Um, I think that's crucial. It's crucial for your sanity, my sanity. Um, I tell somebody like, oh, I'm with Nicole, 4 or 5 times a week. Shut up. I go, what? How old? I go, we're in our mid-50s. Oh, well, I go, well, what,
The sex drive is different.
no, but most guys want to get laid 3, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, maybe in an ideal world. Sure, I'll get some pushback on that, but it's important. So you know what? Go to a doctor, get some tests done. It could be something that is a real simple fix to something that you had no knowledge about. The other takeaway, I really wanted to I know it's more than one thing, but I guess there's two people listening. There's people who maybe there's three groups. People that are in a relationship where it's new enough where they haven't come across any of these pitfalls of communicating and connecting. There's a group of people that are in the middle of it right now because those little wedges have been inserted and they haven't been having tough conversations. And it's a perfect storm because they're not talking about anything. And maybe they've been married 10 years, 12 years, and that gratitude and the love languages, it's just not there. And this is, I think, where people say that we fell out of love.
Yeah.
They just
takes a lot of time. It doesn't happen.
right. This gradual divide. And then we've got people that have either divided or people that are still in it, just trying to make it work, who don't know about any of this. Right. And so I know it's more than one thing, but what are some really important variables to a relationship and its health? If you could, looking back over our marriage, um,
Boy, it sounds corny, but communication. I mean, it's not being afraid to have those tough conversations.
Yeah.
Um, ask, telling them what you need. I think that that's one thing. I'd have to sit and think a little bit more about others.
Yeah.
I think just from personal experience, not communicating enough.
Right. I would say that communicating, connecting, scheduling time together, making time for each other, spending money, making memories instead of acquiring monetary things,
Right.
material, make memories instead of material items. I think that's somebody told me that in class. I was over in Venice and the kid, he's got 4 kids. He was like, I spend my extra money making memories with my family. I was like, say that again, man. Say that again. Right. Cause that's like, he gets it, he's figured some things out. Um, I would also add that don't be afraid to include a higher power in your relationship. I think if it wasn't for your belief in God and the seriousness of the vow that you took, if you didn't take that serious, I think you could have walked away real easy. But I think that you didn't want to break your promise.
Right. I wish that I had God in my life a little bit sooner.
Mm.
It seemed like I didn't go to him until it was all crashing
Well,
down.
my boy, Jelly Roll. I only pray to God when I need a favor. That's a, but that's what he talks about. We only go to religion when we're hurting, when we're in pain, and maybe if we had religion and throughout our lives, we could avoid some of that pain, right?
That's like a regret, I guess, that I
Okay,
had that I didn't see that
yeah,
sooner. But
and I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, you don't need to. You can be in it, whatever denomination, whatever you want to do. But I think acknowledging that there's something bigger than you that might be able to guide you through tough times. Um, I knew I was gonna find a way to incorporate Jelly Roll into this podcast.
now I'm gonna go listen to that
I
song.
know. Hey, guys, this hasn't been easy for Nicole. She has really not only doing the podcast, but obviously being married to me. Um, she's really she's a wonderful example of what love and caring looks like. And so I really appreciate her taking the time to do this, to kind of give us her thoughts on what she was feeling, when she was feeling during the different obstacles in our relationship. And you know what? The crazy thing is they're not done. I mean, like, everybody thinks that, like, oh, once you make it through this, once you make it through that, it's life. Like, we can never go back on autopilot.
Right. No, you can't. But you have the tools now
Right.
to work through the next thing.
Yeah. Like, I said something to you the other day. I go, well, if you're gonna shut me up that quick, maybe you want to listen to what I have to say. And you were like, oh, who the hell was that? But you know what I mean? I would have, no, because you were like, right, you were like, well, because that's like, yeah. And because I would never have said that before. I would have just said, what a bitch. She didn't even want to listen to me. I would not have communicated that, oh, I got something to say.
Yeah.
And then you were like, oh, that makes sense. And then it was like, there was a second of like, I can't believe he just said that to me. Right. You were like, the fuck did you just say to me? And I was like, no, this is what I'm trying to do. And you were like, oh, that makes my life easier. Thank you. Right. I mean, but we're still working on communication. Like, we are a never ending work in progress. And it's fun because as long as it's just you and me, I love those day to days, you know? So guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. And next week, we're going to talk to my garbage men who have been picking up my trash and going through. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. I figure I'd start talking to everybody in the neighborhood. Oh my God. No, we're not talking to anybody else. We're going to talk to some people that you've never heard from. And we'll start that back up next Monday. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Until next week, take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you down the road. God bless.